Average at Best Cornhole, we're back again, and today we have a treat, SXT Bags. I don't know if you heard of them. I never did. Yeah, they're not that old. I think they just started less than a year ago or whatever. I see them pop up on Facebook. I start following them. I'm like, man, those prices are way too low. There's no way those bags. Yeah. We paid $40 a set for these bags. I'm going to just start with that. Yeah. These are pro-style bags with the same materials, the same resin, on sale, $40 a set.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it either. I was throwing them. He bought them. I was throwing them. Didn't even know the price. He told me that. And I was pretty blown away. You know, they don't have a stamp yet, but I mean, you'll find out in this video that, you know, what we think, and if they keep it up, they'll probably get it.
Yeah, I don't need a stamp, so
right.
But I need more bags that cost $40.
Absolutely. So super excited to talk about these.
Yeah, and everybody that throws them too are like, yeah, those bags are $40. They're like, no way. I'm like, yeah.
All right, so we're gonna get into our scoring on the designs here, and one bagger, right? I mean, nothing special. Now, don't take that the wrong way. It's a new company. They're just getting into what they're doing and stuff. But overall, just a simple stamp of their logo. Not a bad logo, but you guys know how I feel about just the logo slapped on the bag. Nothing too interesting. Nothing that pops out.
I do agree with him, and I'm gonna take it a step farther and say, like, you're a new company. What do people look at? They look at design, bags. Oh, that bag looks cool, man. So we're going to give you a good score on cost. We're going to give you a good overall score, but we're giving you a one bagger on design. And if there's anywhere you can improve, get some things out there so people see it.
Yep. Availability, I mean, as far as I know, they're readily available. So if you want these bags, you're going to find them, right?
Right. And there's other series on the website, and we'll get details on that later. But yeah, I always see them stocked on the website. So the cost of scoring, can I give it a 5-bagger? Maybe at least a 4-bagger, but your last bag was like a, airmail N1 or something.
Okay. I would agree. Yeah.
No lie, $40 a set. Now, if you go on their website, I think the special agents, they're listed at $59, $69. Ciphers are listed at $64. But they've always been on sale for $49.99. And then when holidays come up, I think St. Patty's Day is when we got these, and they were $40 legitimately.
Yeah, best pricing we've seen yet, I think. For these quality bags, and I don't think anybody else has really come close.
No, it's crazy, crazy. So a little bit more about SXT Bags. I did reach out to them because I was curious, and they told me that they've been around professional bag makers helping out or whatnot, so they wanted to go into business on themselves. And they actually said that we wanted to differentiate from them, with cost. We wanted to use the same materials, the same, resins, but at a much lower price, which they did, which is cool. And then they were telling me, they're like, well, yeah, we want to reach like everyday backyard players. And I'm like, that's us, we're going with that average thing. You definitely reach somebody. So they were speaking, and, to us, I feel like, and I reached out, under my personal name. I didn't even, use our YouTube channel or whatever, and he told me all this. So, much respect to them, and I'm glad I got these sets.
And where you can find these is just SXTBags.com, as well as they got a Facebook group that is just SXT Bags.
Right? Yeah, well, it's just a Facebook page. Facebook page, no group. You can start a group, though, if you want to. I'm sure they'd be happy about that.
Yep. Break-in method, with the lower cost of the bags, we just went with the old school vinegar method, right? So
keep that cost down.
Right. So, but they broke in great with that method, so it worked out. Get into the speeds on these. Fast sides are both similar, and they're rated at 8.5. And then we have company rated 6 on the special agents, and then these were 5.5.
5.5
on the slow side. I agree with this pretty much. I feel like these were a little bit slower than 6s.
Yeah, that's a popular hybrid material, and we know that one plays pretty much at a steady 5. Yeah, it's the slowest of the 3 popular ones, and I don't agree with 6. Yeah. So as the materials, like I said, I mean, this is that hybrid material. It's not the most common one. This is the one you'd find on like the buffalo sauces, winter tides. Yeah. There is a difference though, and when you feel these, it is so slippery. Like when you grip, I mean, they got to have a liner in there, right?
Yeah, something.
And I think they play different. It feels like they play different than those other, hybrids that we're used to. And I think that's why. I think that's a hybrid. I mean, because of that liner, there is some benefits to it, but it does make the bag feel stiff.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
And the fast sides, I mean, that's your common, that's your 8.5 that you're going to find on like your Wizards or whatever. And then the Ciphers, I mean, they have that true linen like you'd find on like Buffalo Deadhead or whatnot. So everybody's used to those materials and those material combinations.
Now, getting the template, these both start off as a medium. They're right at your standard weight of 16 ounces. Pretty much you see on every bag. The Ciphers do seem to have stretched out a little bit, so they feel a little bit bigger in your hand now than the special agents do.
Right. Again, I think that's that liner. That's probably holding the bag together, and that's why it does. I mean, it feels fuller, and the Ciphers feel a little bit more floppier. Not too floppy. We're not saying this is a floppy bag, but since they weigh and then they measure the same, I mean, it's got to be that side stretching on you.
Getting into the fill, I'm pretty sure that this is a mixed fill on these, and then just a straight flat fill on the Ciphers.
Yeah, I feel some big beads in there too, and then they play like they got big beads in there. They're active bags for sure. Those things, they just flatten out and go wherever you throw them. Bagmanship, it's fantastic. I didn't see any flaws. On the website, it states that they're CNC sewn, and we've seen when people use CNCs and sewing machines, that's when they leave the loose strands or whatnot. We didn't find any of that on these bags.
Yeah, must have trimmed them up and stuff, and for the price,
Yeah, I would have trimmed them up for them for that price.
Right. I mean, when it comes to bagmanship, I mean, if we blindfolded you and handed you, a whole bunch of different $150 bags in these bags, you'd really have a hard time telling us which ones are which.
Oh, you wouldn't be able to.
No, it's excellent for the price.
That leads us to the slide up, and we're going to start with the forgiveness. Now, this is where things are going to get different between these bags because they are completely different. The Ciphers, I mean, super forgiving, right? With that small fill and those materials, like I said earlier, they're going to go right where you want to throw them. The Special Agent, not so much. Something about it, it's stiff. I don't know if it's that liner. They are active. They're going to kick on you. I mean, we know that with the mixed fill, but you can probably cut them a little bit better, maybe roll them and flop them and all that, but preferred the Ciphers 100-fold over the Special Agents.
Yeah, I love these Ciphers. For forgiveness on them, you can hear me talk more about them. But don't get me wrong, the Special Agents are, they're still pretty forgiving what they are, but they definitely play different than say that, I have sauces that I play all the time. My wife loves grabbing the sauces when we play together at camp and stuff like that. And that bag plays a lot different. I don't know if it's the template size or, what we're feeling on the inside of that liner that's making it play different. But even though it's a very similar material, it plays a lot different.
A lot different.
The whole bodiness and how these bags go in the hole. I mean, they're all right. You're gonna plug up the holes with these.
The Special Agents for sure. Yeah, I did see that happen a lot.
Yeah. I've seen it quite a bit. Even with the Ciphers, they don't drip into the hole. And they don't slide right in. When you're close, like a super fast bag and stuff. So. To me, as far as that, whole bodiness, they're average. Nothing bad, nothing great, right?
Yeah, they play true to their materials too.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I was talking about the Special Agent kicking a lot and stuff. I skipped over the hole a few times with it. If I landed too close, so it's an active bag, and we think active bags you can do a lot more with, but it also gives the possibility of skipping over a hole.
Yeah, you got to be able to do it to get the bag to do it, right?
Collectibility on them. The Ciphers, they're collectible. They're not great at collecting. It kind of seems like they bunch up a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, if you straight on collect, yes, of course. Special Agents, I think I would give the nod to the collectability on them a little bit more. And it's, a little bit fuller of a bag, and we know that a little bit fuller of a bag is going to collect better than the other one.
Get into the speed consistencies, I'll talk about the Cipher. When you're in a climate controlled, location, then you're consistent, right? They're not gonna, one bag's not gonna run faster than the other one based on your throw and stuff. However, when you start getting into changing conditions, a little bit of humidity out there, dew setting on the boards, they turn into Velcro. So
it's gonna come to a screeching halt.
Yeah. And but I mean, a lot of bags do that and stuff, and that's why we have all the variations we do. But
and that's why they have hybrid materials, because we all know that is not going to be affected by the humidity like a linen is. So the Special Agents, they're actually pretty consistent, on all conditions.
Yeah. To me, that material is one of the more consistent, especially in the hybrids. when, the conditions change.
Right. That's why I say, I mean, all day, every day, no matter what, I think it's a 5.
Yeah.
Like, I really, truly, I think that's the most consistent material out of all of them.
I would agree. Capable shots, Cipher. I mean, it's your, hole for hole bag. You can, move by bags and stuff though, which is nice. Again, it's a little bit floppier than the special agent, but it's not a real floppy bag, so it holds, and you can kind of move those blockers out of the way and still find the hole. So it's pretty good for that. But
right, but it's also slow enough that if you do want to play a little bit of a dirty game, because you can lay a blocker with that bag. Yep. You can cut that bag still.
Yep. Yeah, it's hard. You got to be really good at cutting to get a consistent cut out of it, but. I found some momentum to where I was, cutting around bags when I wanted to, and blockers all day. I was able to put up with those.
Yeah, and then the special agent, I mean, I think we know what that's going to do. Definitely blockers, also cuts for sure, and then yes, someone is going to be able to roll that bag, just not us.
Yeah, it's all around. Only the player limits, I think, what that special agent's capable of as far as shot types. Yeah,
because there is some big beads in there too. It's an active bag for sure.
Overall rating on these bags, the Cipher, we're going with a 3.5. I love this bag. This is a top 3 bag for me. When humidity, dew's not on the boards and stuff.
The special agent, though, I mean, we settled on a two bagger for these. We didn't want to factor cost into it. If we did, it would bump that up, but. We're familiar with those materials, and, we would prefer to throw another bag with that slow side than it. And I don't know. I don't want to knock that bag. It's, again, for $40.
Yeah.
But we don't want to factor cost into it because we do want to say, I mean, we're not going to reach for that bag over another bag.
All right. How will these bags make you better? The Cipher is just across the board going to make you better. It's a super forgiving bag. You can go hole for hole. They're not too fast. You're not going to run off the board if you're, struggling with that. And it's overall, especially for the average player, they're going to help you be consistent.
It is. It's very easy to throw. It is. I think we said it was kind of floppy or whatever, but it's still a fuller bag. You get a good grip on this bag.
It feels great.
Yes, there is a lot of beads in there. You get a good grip on it to throw it. The special agent, it's going to make you better because it's an active bag. So you do have the kicks. I understand that, but kicks lead to cuts.
Right.
And then someone's rolling that bag. I guarantee it. So if you want to practice rolling, but you don't want to spend over $100 for the popular roll bags, $40.
Yeah, right.
Hey, I don't know if I'm going to be able to roll, but I'm going to waste $40 to find out if I can. Yeah. That's your bag right there.
And even if you're not getting them at that $40 price that we were able to, even
$50.
Even the $50, $60 is, it's still a home run.
Yeah.
Right? So.
And he has other series, or or they have other series too. They have the popular herringbones, and they got a faster bag like the Cipher. I think we might be picking our, getting our hands on.
We're definitely going to be going back to these guys and picking up, more of their offerings because they're just too good of a value. Worth the cost. I think we can all say it at once here, right? Yes, they're absolutely worth the cost. To me, they. I can't even tell you how many bags overall that, we have access to right now, and I don't think there's anything that has the value that these have, that these offer. You're getting professional grade bags with, all the popular materials for a price that nobody else is doing.
Right. They're the same size, they're the same materials, they're the same resins, they're the same bagmanship. Everything about that bag is a Pro Series bag.
Yeah.
Just doesn't have the stamp. And you get what? You could buy 3 sets for the price of a lot of bags. Literally 3 sets for the price of a lot of bags.
Yeah, that's amazing. SXT, keep that up. That's, we're going to tip our hat to you for that every time. Do we recommend these bags? I cannot stress enough that we recommend these bags. Yeah. Here's a couple scenarios. Say you got some kids and you don't want them ruining your bags, but you want an excuse to go tell your wife, hey, there's these other bags. They're only $40. Can I just pick them up for the kids? And then now you get to try them. The kids got some good bags. Yep. So do that. Or, like us at the campground, everybody's throwing these bags in horrible conditions. It's a good price. We don't mind it. Right. Yeah, and and if you're watching us because you're just getting into cornhole and you're trying to figure out these bags and your throw and stuff like that, you don't need the big, flashy $100-some bags. Nope. If you're going out and you're playing at your buddies, you're playing at your local switches or bars and stuff like that, these are what you need. These are the bags that you need to, pick up a couple different sets of the different variations of materials and figure out what's for you. Don't go out and spend $300 buying 3 different variations of materials when, if you time it right, get the discounts, everything like that, you're a little over $100 for the same 3 sets.
Right. Yeah, and like herringbone, everybody talks about herringbone. Well, I don't know if I like herringbone. $40, you can get a herringbone bag.
Right. Yeah.
It's worth it. To me, it's worth $40 just to try it out.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Yep. And then when you bring your buddies around and stuff that aren't good, they're throwing them in the mud, throwing them in the rocks. There you go.
Yep.
Throw those. If you tear them up, it's not a huge financial loss.
Just give me $40 more and I'll go get it.
Right.